Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. Russia has offered to hold talks with the United States to address allegations that it secretly conducted underground nuclear tests. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says Moscow is ready to discuss Washington's concerns, rejecting claims made by President Donald Trump. Russia insists it has not violated the Global Test Ban Treaty and says the US can verify this through international monitoring systems. US lawmakers have returned to Washington after a 53-day break to vote on a deal that could end the longest government shutdown in history. The House is expected to pass the Senate-approved compromise on Wednesday, restoring funding through January 30th. President Donald Trump has called the deal very good and is expected to sign it into law, bringing relief to millions affected by the 42-day shutdown. At least 12 people have been killed and 27 injured in a suicide blast near Islamabad's district judicial complex. Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi says the attacker detonated explosives near a police vehicle after failing to enter the court premises. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has directed immediate medical assistance for the wounded. Police and rescue teams have cordoned off the area and launched an investigation. A technical delegation from the International Monetary Fund has arrived in Pakistan to review the country's public finance management and budget reforms. The IMF team has demanded a comprehensive audit of supplementary grants issued over the past 10 years, seeking accountability and clarity on how funds were utilised. The IMF has stressed the implementation of a fiscal discipline policy to ensure that public spending remains aligned with Pakistan's economic targets. The delegation has also underlined the need for strict expenditure limits and urged the federal government to take concrete measures to curb unnecessary spending. A Russian drone strike has hit Ukraine's southern Odessa region, injuring one person and damaging energy and transport infrastructure. Local officials say the attack sparked fires at several energy sites and a railway depot. Governor Ole Kipper says critical infrastructure is now running on generators, with emergency centres opened to support residents. Also, Russia's Federal Security Service says it has foiled a plot by Ukrainian and British spies to bribe Russian pilots into stealing a MiG-31 jet armed with a Kinzhal hypersonic missile. State media reports the pilots were offered $3 million to fly the jet toward a NATO base in Romania. Indian police are probing a deadly car blast in the capital, Delhi, under a law used to fight terrorism, as forensic experts seek evidence to establish the cause of the first such blast in the city in more than a decade. The law is India's main anti-terrorism law. It is used to investigate and prosecute acts related to terrorism and activities that threaten the sovereignty and integrity of the country. The explosion near the historic Red Fort on Monday evening killed at least 8 people and injured 20. Several states and key facilities across the country were placed on high alert. A Turkish C-130 military cargo plane with at least 20 personnel on board has crashed in Georgia after taking off from Azerbaijan. Authorities have reported casualties, though numbers remain unclear. President Tayyip Erdogan interrupted a speech to offer condolences for the martyrs. And vote counting is underway in Iraq after polls closed in the country's parliamentary elections. The turnout was low, which reflected widespread frustration over corruption, unemployment, and poor public services. Results are expected in the coming days. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.